Hi, I'm Jeri Hill, and this time I want to share with you my heart about my husband, Steve Hill. God had transformed my life and Steve's life both in the same month in 1975. And we had such a transformation in our lives. We didn't know each other at the time. We met at Bible school, David Wilkerson's Bible school. And our lives were so transformed that from the very beginning, we wanted to reach other people. We wanted to share Jesus with others because we had met him. And we wanted everybody to know about this amazing relationship that you could have with Jesus Christ. And when we got married, we were in the ministry immediately. We were working with a similar ministry to Teen Challenge called Outreach Ministries, and then we became youth pastors, and we were witnessing all the time, telling people about Jesus. And then we went to the mission field, and we were on the mission field planting churches. And how do you plant churches from scratch? You go out on the streets and you're sharing Jesus with people. But we made sure that we spent time with Jesus every single day. And as time goes on, 12 years into the ministry, we were learning how to do all of these things, witnessing, planning a church, building a church, and doing all these things. But one day I walked in on my husband, and it was very normal to find him on his face crying out to God. But this day something was different. And as I walked in, he was saying, God, I know how to do this. God, I know how to do this. I know how to plant a church. I know how to witness. I know how to share you with others. But God, I don't want to do it in my own strength. I want you to do it through me. And as he was crying out, he was saying, God, do it through me. And I walked out of the room backwards, and I sat down at the top of the stairs, and I felt it. It was in my spirit. And I started crying out and saying, yes, God. Yes, God, do it through him, Jesus. Do it through him, Jesus. Not in his own strength. Do it through him, Jesus. And something shifted in the heavenlies that day. We had been serving God for 12 years, and something shifted. We had a loving relationship with him. We loved serving him. But all of a sudden, something was changing in the heavenlies. And I think that's what the key is when we desire to not do it in our own strength. We can be trained and we can be taught how to do things. But when something like God and Holy Spirit takes over, and there's a shift in your spirit where you know that you have taken this vessel that has been filled up by him, and he is in control of the vessel, and he can flow. And it was little by little, it had intensified, got deeper and deeper and deeper, to where things were happening in ministry that you knew you could not do in your own strength. And what happened when this shifted in his life, it came from David Wilkerson pouring into him, Leonard Ravenhill pouring into him, but he also collected old antique books, and he poured into those books, reading from them and gleaning from them and seeing what they wrote about, and he wanted what they wanted, to where he was putting it into practice. And we have to practice the presence of God. And one of the books it was Brother Lawrence, and it was named Practice the Presence of God. And that's what began to happen, is more so practicing his presence. As we got into the presence of God, as I watched Steve get into the presence of God, that he was practicing it more and more and more. And being around him, that made me want to practice the presence of God. And when it came time to be on the mission field, we were willing to lay our lives on the altar to be a living sacrifice. And he sacrificed his life to be used by God. And then when the Brownsville revival took place, His life was on the altar. My life was on the altar. To be that living sacrifice, to be in those services and to watch him prepare these messages every single day. He had to get into the presence of God to prepare those messages every day. And I prayed that God would prepare the hearts of the people to receive those messages. And then as time goes on and we're planning a church, God was with him while we were planning that church. And then when he walked through the battle of cancer, God was with him during that battle too. It's not like we set God aside when we're going through the battles, and that God is there when we're not going through and experiencing a battle, but God is with us. And I watched Steve go through that battle with cancer, and he said the pain he was feeling made him remember what Jesus went through for him on the cross, the pain that he went through for him. And he said, we serve such a good God. Even in the midst of the pain, he said, we serve a good God. So no matter what you're going through, whether everything is wonderful or fine, or whether you're going through a battle, it's the same God that carries us through and walks through it with us, and we draw close to him, and you have that relationship with him no matter what. And I hope that hearing a little bit from me about these different men, David Wilkerson, Leonard Ravenhill, and Steve, that it will stir in you a desire to go after God with all of your heart, soul, and strength. God bless you.